So you remember when Jacob Blake was killed and the NBA players are saying, you know what, we're not playing these games. We're sick and tired of this. We're actually going to boycott, which a boycott is the strongest thing that you can do that's considered a peaceful protest. And it's the strongest thing you can do in America because you hurt the money. And that's what they are. You want to hurt them, hurt the money. That's what you hurt. That's all they understand at the end of the day is the money. See, if we was disciplined enough to do some strategic boycotts, because they can't tell you how to spend your money. They can't force you. Let me tell you something. The more money we spend, the more you're funding the state-sanctioned genocide against Black Americans done by the race soldiers. And the reason why I'm using the term genocide is because that's exactly what they're doing to Black people. They're targeting us and killing us in large numbers. Now, let me tell you, you have collaborators that is totally against us. So you have our brothers starting to take a stand and saying, you know what, let's affect the pocketbook for what they're doing. You harm one of ours, let's make it cost you some money. So those brothers start taking a stand. LeBron James wanted the whole NBA season canceled behind this, okay? But guess who was worming their way behind the scenes to get these Black men to play basketball again? Was it Donald Trump calling them names? No, wasn't Donald Trump. Who was it? Barack Hussein Obama. Yes, it was him. Instead of understanding what these brothers are trying to do, he sit up there and wormed his way behind the scenes. And he been doing, let me talk about that before I get into the rest of this story. He been doing that. He been behind the scenes all this time, undercutting everybody, even during the primary. He undercut Bernie Sanders. He undercut every person you could think of that ran. He is the one behind it saying, listen, Kamala need to be selected to do vice president. He was behind that. He was behind the Joe Biden situation. He was. Now, I want to, let me talk about this here. So, Barack Obama, they say it was reportedly played a role in convincing LeBron James and other NBA players to resume the postseason after they boycotted in protest of racial injustice. So they say that Obama spoke with LeBron James, the NBA Players Association president Chris Paul, and other players in a conference call late on Wednesday night after all NBA games were canceled due to the boycott. Okay, they say, so LeBron had advocated, as we talked about, for the season to be over with, and Barack Obama told him and the other players that they could use the remaining games to advocate for changes they want to see by resuming playing. That's undercutting. So you keep making the NBA money, but then after the post game, talk about racial injustice. Your voice would have been heard a lot louder, continuing that boycott. MLB, the Major League Baseball, been walking off the field. Okay. And Barack Obama, the supposed first Black president, who was not raised by no Black American family, was not a Black American having our experience. He wasn't even raised by his Kenyan father, so I can't even say he had a Kenyan experience. But yet he was a so-called first Black president, raised by his white mama, his grandparents, etc. That's why I always said he was always white in the mind. That's why he never could fully relate to us, because he didn't have our experience. Michelle understood our experience, his wife, but not him. So they said that in public remarks, they say Obama praised the Milwaukee Bucks for leading the boycott for walking off the court on Wednesday, saying, tweet, it's going to take all our institutions to stand up for our values. So publicly, he's sitting up here commending the brothers for boycotting, but behind the scenes, he's like, hey, man, come on. We need to end this boycott, man. I mean, you can make your voice heard that way. You understand? So this, like I said, I've never had respect at the end of his presidency. I didn't have respect for him because he didn't do nothing for Black people. And you got these lost in the sauce Negroes. He couldn't do anything. What do you expect him to do? They got all kind of excuses. But one thing he did do for sure is that Blue Lives Matter law, Blue Alert. He sure did that with no problems, didn't he? He did DACA, didn't he? DACA is so tight that Trump can't even get it overturned. And that was an executive order. That was not a law. So what you mean he couldn't do nothing? He didn't want to do anything for black people. Another thing that he done, when the UN was talking about reparations for black Americans in slavery, he didn't want to even attend that. He didn't. He didn't speak up about it or anything. This guy was never advocated for black Americans, not once. That's why it doesn't bother him to go behind the scenes and try to undermine and use his influence to keep the system going the way it always has been going. This whole story just sickened me, okay? So the players agreed to resume the playoffs on Saturday, and the deal includes increased access to voting in the U.S. presidential election. Voting, okay, and where's that gotten black folks? Hey, did voting help Jacob Blake? Did voting help George Floyd? What voting do for them? You know, the League and Players Association said on that Friday, said the decision in the 3-day halt is into the action as part of the player-led protests, you know, definitely from the shooting of Jacob Blake, okay? So they said that the players began to protest, you know, when the Milwaukee Bucks refused to take the court for Game 5 of the first round series against Orlando Magic. They said the Bucks players said they was unable to focus on basketball due to demonstrations and violence in Kenosha, which is 40 miles south of Milwaukee. Now they said that after the Bucks boycott, the NBA postponed all 3 games that were scheduled that day, as well as 3 on that Thursday. So, you know, the NBA players and playing in the bubble. Now they supposedly made an agreement with the NBA. The return to play agreement was announced the day after players, coaches, and team governors had a candid discussion regarding next steps of further collective efforts and actions in support of social justice and equality. So as part of the agreement, teams who own and control their stadiums will work with local election officials to convert their facilities into a voting location to allow a safe in-person voting option for areas vulnerable to COVID-19. They say the novel coronavirus, right? They said now, of course, Donald Trump has been against mail-in ballots. But they also said the NBA will also work to include advertising spots at each playoff game dedicated to promoting greater civic engagement in national and local elections. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. That's nothing. They didn't do anything. Y'all agreed to that? Voting? That's nothing tangible for black people. Well, we're going to turn the stadium into a voting vote. Why? What did that do? So this is what you guys did that Barack Obama make you do. You had the upper hand. You had them literally by the balls, literally. And you were making your voice heard peacefully. You let Barack Obama worm his way in to push the Democrat agenda to get y'all to go back and play basketball, because we don't know. Maybe he got a stake in the NBA where he making money off the NBA. We don't know. We don't know. And what they give y'all in return is, hey, we can make some more voting, which voting ain't done nothing for black folks. What has it done? All these like, hey, that's dangerous to talk that way, Phil. You can't be talking like that. That's dangerous. Show me how voting prevented any of these state-sanctioned genocide killings of black people. Show me. Show me that. Matter of fact, more of us was getting killed when Barack Obama was in office. Black folks voted for him twice. Tell me how Barack Obama being in office, or you running to vote for him, stopped the state-sanctioned genocide killings by race soldiers against black Americans. Show me that. And you know good and well you can't show me anything. So don't tell me nothing about that's dangerous. Well, you know what's dangerous? being black in this country where the standard operating procedure of America is genocide against black Americans. That's dangerous. Well, if we go vote Joe Biden in, Joe Biden is part of it. Kamala is part of it. They have put policies in to lock black people up. Joe Biden, Kamala locking people up too. She was even laughing about it. About parents being afraid to go to jail behind truancy. Just locking people up. Men innocent, Kamala still send them to jail. What are you talking about? Voting don't mean nothing to me without any tangibles attached to it. They're not offering reparations. They're not going to get rid of qualified immunity that allows these race soldiers the state-sanctioned power to commit acts of genocide against black Americans. I'm not calling it police brutality no more. I'm calling it state-sanctioned genocide, because that's what it is. These Republicans, we know what they own. So don't tell me nothing. You know how they like to say, well, what do Republicans do for you? Not a MFing thing. Just like these Democrats ain't doing not an MFing thing for me either, or black folks either. So that's a good enough answer for you, slowpoke, in your mind? You just want master to rule you for another 1,000 years. That's what you want. You don't want to do nothing on your own. You don't want to stand up on your own. But this guy's been doing this mess behind the scenes, y'all, for a while. The people didn't pick Joe Biden. I'm telling you they didn't. He was part of it. Just like he did not want the black man, Keith Ellison, to run the Democrat Party. He wanted this Tom Perez guy that's so anti-reparations, and Obama was anti-reparations. Anytime somebody brought a reparation, sorry, quick, they shut that down. Obama was part of that too. Because he don't want us to have reparations. He gets his. He got his book deal. He gets all the stuff he get. He don't have to worry about nothing. But the average black American, what do we have to worry about? We have to worry about acts of genocide against us. And he out here trying to get our brothers to go back to play basketball for voting. Voting? Really? Not nothing tangible in those cities. He didn't say, hey, look, if you guys go back to play, make the NBA teams in those cities, give certain funds to the black communities, so, small businesses, fund schools in the black communities, do something tangible that's actually going to help the black community. No, nothing at all. Nothing like that. No money get moved to the black community. None. It's not just about money, Phil. Yes, it is. Everything is about money. Because with economics, we can do a whole lot. This didn't cost the NBA nothing at all. And I'm not saying the NBA is responsible for, causing all this stuff that's happening. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying is it sends a shockwave because now Major League Baseball was doing it. And now y'all let Obama walk right in and tell y'all to go back to play basketball for some freaking access to voting. Oh my God. Well, I tell you. And y'all watch in the comment section, you're going to have these little geniuses showing up with their little comments about, we got to vote. We got to vote. I told people this, and I'm saying it again. My vote is up for sale, meaning it's there if you want it. My vote's here if you want it. I would gladly go vote. I'm not against voting, but you're going to have to give me something. You're going to have to give my people something. And then I would gladly go vote for you. If you don't give my people nothing, then forget you. I'm not voting for you. And let me respond for the other thing they're going to say. Oh, well, you going to vote for Trump? Is he giving me something? My vote's for sale. Then let me respond to this other thing they like to say. Well, if you don't vote for the Democrats, there's a vote for Trump. In what world is that a vote for Donald Trump? And no Democrat owned my vote. If I didn't go vote for Donald Trump and I didn't go vote for Joe Biden, he didn't get a vote. Like, where'd that come from? This logic. Don't let these people try to voter shame you black people. Notice they don't do this to white people. They don't do this to no other race. Hispanics, Asians, no other race. You notice that? Asians don't even go out there and vote like that. Why don't you voter shaming Asians? You want to voter shame black people. Go tell them to go vote. They ain't worrying about voting. You know why? Because they're building their economy. That's why. They don't need no worry about politicians and American politics. They focus on building up their communities. That's why they're not so focused on that. But they want to shame you. And unfortunately, you got some black people, even some well-educated black people that really believe in, you know, they want, like I said before, they want the fox to run them. Republicans are the wolves, the Democrats are the foxes. Both of them got the same goal in mind, white supremacy. They just have two different approaches. The Republicans, you see them coming. The Democrats, they'll whisper sweet nothings in your ear. They'll say you're your friend. Oh, they'll say Black Lives Matter. They'll do all kinds of things. But when the rubber meets the road, at the end of the day, they focus on white supremacy. That's why they won't give you reparations. That's why they won't give me reparations. This is why Joe Biden said he don't want an unqualified immunity, because he's okay with the state-sanctioned genocide killing of black Americans. He don't care about that because he's on team white supremacy. That's why. See, defunding the police, that's not really doing nothing. Qualified immunity, getting rid of that, is doing something. But I want just reporting this, guys, just so you can see just how your so-called first black president are doing a lot of things behind the scenes to undermine black America. We haven't had a president yet that comes from black America, our experiences, our life. We haven't had it yet. We had a first lady, but we haven't had a president. We didn't. This is why he would always lecture us and talk down on us and never gave us anything. This is what it is. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the situation, you know, with this story. But like I said, hey, like I said before, 2020, everybody being exposed.